Hey guys, Jambo FPV. Wanted to bring you a quick comparison here between 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second on Betaflight and on KISS flight controllers. The day I was testing here was super windy, so not the best conditions, and perhaps we can see here some oscillations and some jello in the video, which is yeah, I guess a good test for both flight controllers and also an idea of which settings will maybe show more of this than the others. I'm not using an ND filter, it's just stock GoPro settings, Super View, and GoPro color with auto shutter speed. So here we see the Betaflight compared with the KISS. And one of my first kind of impressions was that it seems to handle variations in wind and prop wash a little bit better. So definitely the filtering and how it handles kind of these unpredictable situations seems to be a little bit better in Betaflight. Not saying that it means it's better flight characteristics, but from a technical perspective and kind of for that smooth video, seems to work a little bit better. So here right away we can see the first 30 frames per second clip. You can see that it's definitely, once you're used to watching 60 frames per second, there is almost this kind of, it's been described before as like a flickbook kind of situation where it's going from one HD image to the next, and there's no motion blur, so this is kind of, yeah, it's something you don't really notice, but once you compare it with the kind of fluid motion of 60 frames per second, it's pretty noticeable. The downside with shooting 60 frames per second with the GoPro Session 5 is that you can only shoot at a maximum resolution of 1080p. So this, for me, as once this image is viewed on the computer, it looks fine, but YouTube tends to process 1080 video pretty badly, and you get a lot of compression and artifacts from the video. I've actually exported this video at 2.7K. So this should negate some of the compression and artifacts in the video, and it's more for you guys to kind of make up your own mind and kind of see the videos side by side. You know, I'm not the best pilot there is around, but hopefully it will give you some idea of, you know, the flight characteristics and how it looks. So we're jumping back here to 60 frames a second. As I mentioned before, you can really notice this this kind of smoothness in the video, and again the downside being the quality of the video. The firmwares I'm using are the latest, so it's 3.3.1 on Betaflight, and for the KISS flight controller, I can't remember the exact version, but it's the latest one. Also with the ESCs, I've updated to the latest firmware as well. On both of these, I'm using, for Betaflight, the dynamic filtering, and on KISS I'm using the adaptive filtering with no other filters, completely stock PIDs on both flight controllers. I have not had chance to do any kind of PID tuning. I think the flight controllers these days perform really well, and I think, you know, a lot of what people would say is a bad tune is just, you know, down to could be, you know, just not so great throttle control, or you know, flying around certain bad conditions. So here we're jumping back onto the 30 frames per second. I think ideally in this situation, and this is something I'm going to be testing in the near future, I have something on order, I'm going to be putting some ND filters on. This will allow the shutter speed to be lowered slightly, and will give you a little bit more motion blur within the footage. People say that 30 frames per second, or more specifically 24 frames per second, are more cinematic. But yeah, this is maybe the case. Anyways, guys, I wanted to leave that with you, and it's up to you. What do you think? Leave some comments below. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this, and yeah, keep an eye on my channel. I'm always posting new flight footage and new edits. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.